There was once a man who stood alone against the chaos of history and never bowed to it. His name was Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated swordsman, the philosopher of solitude, the one who fought more than 60 duels to the death and never lost. But the true battle Musashi fought was not against men. It was against the weakness that lives inside every man. He died invincible at 62, yet his final words revealed something far more powerful than victory. They exposed the secret difference between ordinary men and those who ascend beyond fear. In his final writings, Dokkōdō, The Path of Aloneness, Musashi revealed a truth so raw that even centuries later, it still cuts through the illusions of modern life. He named the poisons that destroy men from within, 3 silent addictions that turn potential into mediocrity. Today, men are still slaves to the same poisons Musashi warned about. They are distracted, overstimulated, desperate for validation, living under the illusion of control while their souls rust quietly beneath the noise. Musashi's words are a mirror, one that shows how far we've fallen and how we might rise again. For his philosophy was not a relic of the past. It was a blueprint for the timeless battle between strength and comfort, clarity and confusion, truth and illusion. The first poison he named was addiction to approval. He wrote, "Do not seek to be loved by everyone." It sounds simple, yet it is one of the rarest acts of strength. Musashi saw what most never see. The craving for validation is a form of slavery. Each compliment, each like, each nod of acceptance releases a small dose of pleasure. But like all addictions, it demands more and more until you forget who you are without it. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Musashi already knew. The pursuit of external validation lights up the same circuits as drugs. But where the addict surrenders to the chemical, the warrior observes the craving and lets it pass. For the man who defines his worth by the gaze of others has already handed them his sword, his. Musashi lived in a world of blood and silence, yet he understood psychology better than modern men do with all their books and therapy. He wrote, "A man who depends on the approval of others has given his power away. The one who can walk through a crowd unseen, unbothered, untouched, that is the free man. The world may judge him, praise him, or ignore him, but none of it changes his stance, because his value is rooted in what cannot be taken, self-command." The second poison, he said, is the flight from discomfort. Accept everything as it is. Most men spend their lives running, not from others, but from themselves. They escape into entertainment, excuses, or endless planning. They call it balance, but it is avoidance. Musashi understood that only through friction does the sword become sharp. Modern neuroscience agrees. New neural pathways are born when the brain faces difficulty. To flee discomfort is to reject growth itself. Musashi sought discomfort deliberately. He trained in the rain, slept on stone, and faced hunger as a teacher. He knew that each moment of hardship revealed something the comfortable never see, the untapped strength beneath fear. Weak men search for relief. Strong men search for resistance because resistance is the forge of the self. Then came the third and deadliest poison, enslavement to desire. Musashi wrote, "Do not be controlled by your body's longing." He saw how desire turns men into beasts, slaves of pleasure, chained by appetite. They chase lust, indulgence, greed, distraction, and call it freedom, when in truth it is dependence. A man ruled by craving cannot stand still. He must always reach, always feed. But the one who masters his desires becomes untouchable. When the senses obey the mind, the world cannot move you. Musashi's greatest transformation began when he walked away from everything. He withdrew into the mountains, into silence. No fame, no companions, no noise. He called this the forging through solitude. It was a ritual of purification. Alone, stripped of comfort, he faced his 3 inner demons, the whisper of doubt, the ache of dependency, and the chill of fear. In that sacred isolation, Musashi fought not with a sword, but with stillness. The first demon whispered, "You are not enough." Doubt poisons the heart before any battle begins. The second demon murmured, "You cannot live without others." Dependency disguises itself as love, but feeds on weakness. The third demon screamed, "You will lose everything." Fear, the oldest of enemies, stands between every man and his becoming. Musashi faced them in silence until their voices dissolved. Through meditation, through stillness, through unrelenting awareness, he killed them not with force but with understanding. Each morning, Musashi practiced the ritual of living death. He would visualize his body being cut, his blood spilled, his breath leaving him. To most, this seems morbid. To him, it was awakening. For the man who accepts death fully has nothing left to fear. This was not obsession, it was liberation. Modern psychology calls it exposure therapy. Musashi called it truth. When you face death every morning, the day can no longer intimidate you. When Musashi finally returned from solitude, he was no longer a man among men. He was a force. Those who faced him in battle spoke of terror, not born from violence, but from presence. They said that to meet his eyes was to look into an abyss, a stillness so complete it shattered the mind before the sword ever moved. Musashi's victory began long before the duel. His calm broke the opponent's spirit before steel ever touched air. From these trials, he formed the 5 laws of invincibility. First, accept loneliness as your greatest teacher, for solitude reveals your truth without distortion. Second, turn discomfort into fuel. Seek it, embrace it, for it tempers your will. Third, kill your emotional dependency. The need for approval, validation, or comfort weakens the spirit. Fourth, live as if already dead. Fear loses its hold when you accept impermanence. Fifth, master your impulses. Govern desire, anger, hunger, and sloth, or be governed by them. But Musashi's genius was not only in fighting, it was in perception. He understood that mastery of self was mastery of the world. His most famous duel, against Sasaki Kojiro, remains a perfect example of psychological warfare. He arrived 3 hours late, carving his wooden sword from an oar as he sailed to the island. Kojiro, consumed by rage and pride, was defeated before the blades met. One strike ended it. The true duel was already over, fought and won in the mind. Yet after that victory, Musashi made a vow never to kill again. He had conquered the outer world and now turned inward, toward the final frontier, mastery of peace. He realized that true strength does not require violence. It radiates through restraint. A man who no longer needs to prove his power to anyone has reached freedom. In his later years, Musashi recorded what he called the secret code of strong men. The strong do not need to appear strong. They are silent, composed, self-contained. The strong do not rush. They understand that power ripens slowly. The strong are unafraid of being wrong. Their egos do not demand to be worshipped. They protect their weaknesses, strengthen their faults, and remain unpredictable. For the man who moves without pattern cannot be trapped by it. But Musashi's most haunting realization came near the end of his life. He saw that most men do not fight to win. They fight merely to avoid losing. Their every action is born of fear of failure, rejection, insignificance. The predator moves forward with intention. The prey moves backward in hesitation. Musashi understood that the one who moves toward danger with clarity conquers it. The one who retreats from fear becomes its servant. He tested this truth through a thought experiment. Imagine losing everything: name, health, wealth, respect. Would I still be strong? He asked himself. The answer was always yes. Because strength, once found within, cannot be stolen. The world can strip away possessions, but not presence. And so Musashi's final revelation was simple, devastating, and eternal. The difference between weak men and strong men lies not in what they possess, but in what they can live without. Weak men depend on noise, pleasure, attention, and comfort to feel alive. Strong men need none of it, and that is why life gives them all of it. When you no longer cling, the world begins to flow toward you. This is the final paradox of mastery. When you stop chasing approval, people respect you more. When you stop craving company, others are drawn to your stillness. When you stop fearing loss, you gain peace. And when you stop needing victory, life itself begins to unfold in your favor. Musashi's legacy is not a manual for war. It is a meditation on being. He taught that to walk the path of mastery is to walk alone, not in loneliness, but in presence. To sharpen your mind as he sharpened his blade. To meet discomfort as a teacher, not a punishment. To let silence shape your will until you become unshakable. So when the world tempts you to chase comfort, remember his lesson. Power is not found in what you take, but in what you can let go of. When you own nothing, not even your fears, you become untouchable. Train your mind, master yourself, walk the dojo path.